TIFU by getting the wrong nail polish color and irritating my dead grandmother. Ms. Ruthie, my wonderful, beautiful, very Jewish grandmother, always had long, impeccably polished coral red nails. Absolutely not my color of choice. Before she passed away, she would always criticize my choice of nail color. She hated the blues, green, or God forbid I got black nails. Obligatory. This happened a while ago. Story starts here. About a year ago I went to the nail salon and I picked out this really pretty purple color. It was loud. I was tan. I was feeling it. So I pick out my polish color and spaced out as the nail tech starts painting my nails. I was watching some news special and zoned out for a good 10 minutes when suddenly I looked down and gasped. My nails were being painted bright coral red. It was literally my Nana's signature color. Confused, I asked the nail tech where the purple was. She held up the bottle and it was coral red. There was no purple bottle on the table. I would never, ever wear that color. I feel like my Nana visited me that day and I bet she had a great laugh. I wound up keeping the color and nervously drove home. She always had a great sense of humor and I miss her dearly. TLDR. My dead grandmother pranked me at the nail salon and swapped out the color she hated for her signature color. Her wedding day 1951. Here she is in 1952. I miss my Nana daily. She was smart and funny and loved us all unconditionally. And she hated that I bit my nails. When I finally broke that habit, I would look at my hands and think, damn. Nana would be so proud of me. I'm crying from your post. But it's happy tears. My grandmother always made me paint her fingernails and toes. When you're a kid, it's fun. But as a teenager you realize that grandma was using you for mani-pedis and you didn't want to touch old lady feet if at all possible. She would always somehow guilt me into it, explaining that she couldn't bend down to reach her toes like a young person. And she'd also let me clean her jewelry while I did her polish. I did enjoy playing with her rings and hearing the stories of origin for all 12 she wore. A minimum of one on each finger with even thumb bands. She always wore the frostiest shade of light blush pink from Revlon, which was a liquidy runny bitch to control. But it did match her favorite Clinique frosty lip color nicely. In early 2002 she was diagnosed with cancer already in a late stage and she opted not be subjected to awful treatments to prolong her time at the expense of quality of life. She didn't want to talk about her illness. I suspect she knew longer than we did about her diagnosis, and was vocal about not wanting to participate in end-of-life planning and discussion of her last wills. She had 5 children and 10 grandchildren. Her husband and mother. 3 siblings with infinite amounts of nieces and nephews and cousins. And we were just there for her to shower her with love and to just be our humongous family together while we could. She was the glue that held us together. Her oldest grandchild. I was 18 and kind of in that shithead phase after graduating high school with the attitude that I was adult, when I was definitely not an adult. She asked me one day if I would paint her nails. Kind of disgusted. I whined in declination. It most likely wasn't the first time she had asked. And I probably had been postponing the task with excuses. This time, however, she said, "You need to paint my nails because it will probably be the last time my nails will ever be painted. This will be the nail polish I will be buried in." That cut deep. She didn't talk about such things. And this very concept would have never crossed my mind. I painted her nails right then, weeping silently the entire time. She passed away a few weeks later. Grandmas. Man. They know how to stay with you. I absolutely love this. I lost my granny almost a year ago and could definitely see her doing something like this. She was definitely one of those proper Southern ladies who would say, "You could be so pretty if your nails didn't make you look like a witch." Ah. My Grandma June had always painted her nails that color as she loved reds and also bubbly pinks. Her mother was Ruth and also wore the same thing. Two little Irish ladies. Well, my grandma was half Irish and Icelandic. Great-Grandma Ruth was 100% Irish. But I can picture those two cackling at this while doing their nails at the kitchen table. This TIFU really brought such a nice memory, thank you. That's awesome. This post reminded me that I got pranked by my dead dad recently. He was in the Navy for a long time. And, being a Navy man in the 80s and early 90s, his beer of choice was Busch. Sadly, he loved Busch too much, and died of liver cancer back in 2018. About a month ago, I was adding stuff to my Instacart list, and thought, I think I'll make beer battered fish and chips for dinner this week. So I added a sixer of Coors on there. Cheapo lager with enough flavor for beer batter to taste extra yummy. When my delivery came, there was a 12-pack of Busch beer next to my bags. And no signs of the Coors. Dad always hated Coors, so I took that as a sign he wanted me to make the beer battered fish and chips and knock a few back for him that night, which I did, and watched a couple Mel Brooks movies, which were our favorite to watch together when he was alive. I feel this. I've told this story before on Reddit, but my grandmother on my dad's side passed 5 years ago. She used to always let my mom and I go shopping in her closet when we visited. The day of her funeral. After it was over and we were back at my grandparents' house, my mom and I were looking in her closet one last time and a pair of shorts fell off a hanger. We didn't think anything of it at first and simply hung them back up. Well, they proceeded to fall like 2 or 3 more times until my mom finally picked them up and went, "Sorry, Grandma. Neither of us is interested." She then hung them up again and they stayed. So I think she was shopping with us one last time. Less than 3. Ooh la la, Nana was a hottie. This story made me smile. I used to do my grandma's nails often, and without fail she would ask for a light pink. She was a very neat and proper lady and would say, "Blue?" incredulously at whatever crazy color I had on. I ended up accumulating a large collection of light pinks just for her. And I think of her whenever I wear them. That's a beautiful and funny story. It reminds me how my grandmother always hated other colors besides red nails. My dad too. But where we lived there were a lot of Southern Baptist folks in NJ, and at school the girls would say things like, "My mom would never let me have red nails. Red is for whores." But red was so popular during World War II when my grandmother was a teen, and I guess my dad learned that it was the norm. He'd always said, "Paint them a nice red. Why do you want black or green for?" I've never read a TIFU and cried until today. LMAOOOOOO Grandma got your ass rolling on the floor laughing. That's hilarious. Also, I clicked the picture and oh my god, she's so fabulous. Coral red is also my mom's signature color. When I was a kid she had dozens and dozens of barely different coral red polishes. Always trying to find the perfect one. Thank you for sharing this story. I had a good chuckle since my Grammy was much the same way with black, darker nail polish. Whenever my sister would stray towards darker hues she would say, "Lord, why is my baby wearing the devil's colors? Trying to look like a witch." This post brought up some fond memories. Your Gramps as Nick Cage? I absolutely adore coral shades of polish. Graham has impeccable taste. This reminds me of my Nana. She was appalled by black nail polish too. That's so cute and funny. Since we are speaking of grannies and nail polish, I want to tell a little story too. My grandma has this nail polish that I love. It's so silver, almost chrome. It's gorgeous and sparkly, and every time I go there, I have to put some on. She always watches me like a hawk and yells at me to not let it drip on the couch. So the first time I tried it, I asked the name and where to get it. She said, Glitty Party, and Walgreens. Well, I can never fucking find it Walgreens, and it's Guilty Party like guilty. No matter how much I try to correct her, she refuses to read the name again. Also, she says it's gold. Y'all, this shit is silver. Very silver. So it's actually hilarious. Every time I see her and paint my nails, we argue about the name and the color. She stands firm. I tell her we can settle on white gold together, and she won't even do that. It's just this funny little cute argument we have. There's not much to talk about, so I love having this playful little fight with her. She's annoyed but still loves the interaction. She smiles a bit and hides that she thinks it's funny too. Anyway, when she passes, I'm gonna ask my family if I can just have the nail polish. Whether or not I can bring myself to use it at that point. I want to keep the bottle. Reminds me of when my grandmother was in the hospital and I would visit her and paint her nails. While we talked, it was always the same color of bright neon pink. When she passed away, we told the funeral home they weren't to remove the nail polish, and if she needed a touch-up, I would bring them her color. I still have it, but can't bring myself to use it on my own nails. She was stunning. My grandfather hated tradition of lighting candles for people's death days and told Mum she wasn't to waste her time on it for him. Of course, after he passed, Mum went to light his candle a year later. Broke 3 matches. Used the 4th till it burnt right down. But the wick wouldn't catch. Light the candle with the 5th and it promptly went out. She gave up and told him he was beginning naughty and she wouldn't bother this year, but he'd better let her next time. This made me smile.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.